the latest book I've been reading, and I'll take more screenshots and show more in a later video, maybe do a whole video just on it. It's in another book. No more news shows making ADL stats. No, I don't think so. They have quoted me, but not anything very bad. Anyway, here we go. Listen to what this book, written by a Jew, by the way, who says that Saul was not a Christian. It's a lot of pilpul. She makes some good points. There's some arguments that you could say that he was still a Jew, but you could still semantically say Paul was still a Christian. But this is a little highlight here. Paul was called by God to fulfill a particular mission, one that was foretold in the Hebrew prophets, to bring knowledge of the one God, the God of Israel, to all the Goyim of the world. Paul believed that the recognition of the one God by Gentiles was necessary so that they might have a share in the world to come. Thus, Paul was not a Christian, a word that was in any case completely unknown to him because it had not yet been invented. Paul was a excuse me. Paul was a Jew who understood himself to be on a divine mission by creating Christianity. As a Jew, Paul believed himself to be entrusted with the special knowledge God had given only to Jews. And here's that. That's not that verse. Here it is. Romans 3. What advantage then is there in being a Jew? Or what value is there in circumcision? Much in every way. First of all, the Jews have been entrusted with the very words of God. The power of convincing the world that you were chosen by God and that your people are God's people, and you speak for God. You speak with the authority of the supreme authority of all the universe. You are the only people that can speak for him, and he chose you and gave you land. All Christians believe in Romans and Paul. They believe that the Jews have a divine status that can speak for God. Now, speaking of entrusted, right? Paul believed himself to be entrusted with the special knowledge God had given only to Jews. Reconciling non-Jews to God meant reconciling non-Jews to Jews. Non-Jews to God meant reconciling non-Jews to Jews. Not because they were necessarily hostile to each other, but because of all people potentially children of God, Jews must be considered part of the same family. That's what they want you to believe, but this is not what the Kabbalist and Judaism teaches. And here's another verse. Now, Galatians 1:15-16. Oh, this is what I was going to say. The Pharisee Saul's conversion narrative, lifted directly from Scripture, like Galatians 1:15-16, Paul says, "But when God, who set me apart from my mother's womb and called me by his grace, was pleased to reveal his Son in me so that I might preach him among the Gentiles." Funny that Jesus supposedly walked the earth and many Gentiles saw him, but Jesus is being revealed to the Gentiles through Paul because he wasn't actually on earth. He's just found him in the Scriptures. My immediate response was not to consult any human being. So this mother's womb called me by his grace, this story comes from Jeremiah. The call of Jeremiah, like Paul was called to be the apostle of the Gentiles as well. The word of the Lord came to me saying, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the Goyim." Also, there's another saying that comes from the Greek play, the Bacchae, where Paul has a direct quote from this Greek play that was around first century and before as well. Something about, what is it? Paul's Damascus, something about chuds. Paul Damascus chuds. Acts 9. I always forget what this is called. Do you guys know what the saying is? Oh man, this is annoying. I'm gonna have to edit this in. I talked about this when Myth Vision he was on. Where's the chat? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? He doesn't say it. It's an act, so it's not even. Oh, where is it? I want to say it so bad. Call my name. I'm reading. All right, we're going to have to find this another time. Anyway, it's a direct quote from it. I'll have to add it to this later. All right, next story. Oh, here we go. This is a nice clip. I played this before, but I got it up on Twitter. Worshiping Jesus is the most Jewish thing you can do.
Did you know Jesus is a Jew? Did you know
this is a Messianic Jew in Israel speaking to Jews, by the way.
Did you know Jesus is a Jew?
Вы знаете, что Иешуа еврей?
He came as a Jew.
Он пришел евреем.
His parents took him to Jerusalem for every Passover.
Circumcised.
Привозили его в Иерусалим на
Lion of David.
So he was raised as a practicing Jew.
Он вырос, будучи мальчиком, молодым человеком.
It's sad that I even have to show clips like this because there's a fringe minority of delusional Christians that say that he wasn't a Jew and that he's the only real opposition to Jews and Christianity isn't Jewish and there's no way it's a Jewish hoax.
The things that he taught in his ministry were all very Jewish.
Его учения были
it's all Jewish.
еврейскими учениями.
He claimed to fulfill the Torah.
Он сказал, что он исполнил Тору.
And he's in heaven right now.
И он сейчас на небесах.
As the lion from the tribe of Judah.
Как лев из колена Иуда.
And the Bible.
Oh, he's the lion from the tribe of Judah, he says, right? Revelations 5:5, and one of the elders said unto me, Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, that's the Messiah, the branch, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. So the Lion of the tribe of Judah in Jeremiah, this is what Jesus is supposed to do now, okay? If Jesus is the Lion of Judah, the Lion is to come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He is the destroyer of the Gentiles and Edom.
The Bible says he's coming back
И Библия говорит, что он возвращается,
as the offspring of David.
как ветка Давида.
The point that I'm making is this.
Что я хочу вам сказать, это следующее.
Receiving Jesus
Приняв Иешуа,
is the most Jewish thing that anybody can do.
Принять Иешуа – это самый еврейский акт, который кто-либо может сделать.
Because he is
Потому что он есть.
the Jewish Messiah.
Он есть еврейский Мессия.
Because he is the Jewish Messiah. And I found what I was looking for about the Bacchae. Here's from Dr. Price's blog. From Paul's biography to Luke's biography, Euripides, Bacchae, the Maccabees story. Luke also got it from Maccabees, the idea of the road to Damascus story. The Bacchae. I'm still not seeing the exact term I'm looking for. This is so dumb that I can't remember this. It's some weird saying. That's how you know that it's lifted exactly from it. All right. Wasn't prepared to get deep into that today. Here's another one from Paul Was Not a Christian Now. Oh, this is small. It says, the Roman satirist Juvenal is famous among historians for his laments about the corrupt influence of Judaism, Christianity, and other foreign cults on Roman tradition. So the Roman satirist saw Judaism and, by extension, Christianity as a threat to Roman tradition, which is what it was. It was theological warfare. He complains about some unfortunate fellow Romans, hilarious that he uses the term fellow Romans there, who have had a father who reveres the Sabbath. So, crypto fellow Romans. and who worships nothing but clouds and the divinity of heaven. So describing Jews. It is clear that Juvenal is speaking about Jewish practices performed by Romans and the ill-fated consequence for the future children of Rome, as it was ultimately conquered by Christianity. For he continues, in time they, the children, take to circumcision, having been wont to flout the laws of Rome, they learn and practice and revere the Jewish law, for all of which the Father was to blame, who gave up every seventh day to idleness. So seeing, rightfully, the Romans seeing Christianity as a theological, cultural threat that ultimately supplanted the Gentiles' culture, the original great replacement, replacing all the idol-worshipping, pagan, Greco-Roman, and Viking world and Arab world with their other side religions, controlled opposition religions for Esau and Ishmael. More in this book about Esau and Ishmael, basically, and how Paul viewed that as well. The story of all the nations being brought in for their end times agenda. Here's a verse that just shows how the anti-Semitism is like divinely ordained and part of their religion. Deuteronomy 20:37, you, the Jews, will become a thing of horror, and a byword and an object of ridicule among all the people where the Lord will drive you. So they kvetch all the time about being persecuted and hated for no reason, because God says that it's God's will. They believe it's God's will, and that Esau is just carrying out the divine persecution. Rabbis say the Goy don't even know why they hate Jews. They just intrinsically hate them. Christ Cook Pastors is a good follow, a good YouTube channel, is finding all types of great clips and stuff like this. It says, this is what Christianity does to a person. This guy with his Israeli flag on his arm there says he pledges allegiance to the United States of America and the Republic, and he also pledges his allegiance to Israel and the Jewish people. So now he has two pledges of allegiance, one to the U.S. and one to the nation of Israel and the Jewish people. He says, he pledges his allegiance to Israel and to the God's chosen people, the Jews. He will not only respect their right to the land of Israel, but will defend their right to the land, as God himself granted it to you any way he can. He will give his life to defend any Jew who are persecuted whenever and wherever he is able, because he believes in liberty and justice for all, playing the role of Esau perfectly. If you believe in liberty and justice for all, you wouldn't take the side of the Jew every single time just because they're God's people. That's not justice for all, that the Jews are God's people, so you're going to defend them with your life no matter what. Cultural commentary says, Christianity is Jew worship Stockholm syndrome. Yes, that's a good way to put it. He says, he bought this patch of the Israeli flag and made it into an armband to wear as often as he can to show his solidarity and commitment to Israel and the Jewish people. I mean, you don't see worse cuckery than that. Ridiculous. I guess he defends this. Here's Shireen's dead is chanted. Jerusalem is ours, say Israeli settlers, provoking Palestinians by insulting the slain journalist, Shireen Akleh. So she's clapping that she's... Look at these. These people are so disgusting. Perfect imagery celebrating the IDF murdering an American Palestinian journalist with the Israeli flag wrapped around him. I guess I can't call him an ugly person because he's got the Israeli flag around him. I can't criticize him because he's God's chosen. He's allowed to celebrate the murder of some Palestinian Goyim woman. Yeah, the casket bearers were attacked as well. So ridiculous. They get away with it too. They get away with everything. This is out a few days ago. 81 members of Congress say U.S. must stop Israeli evictions at Hebron Hill. A large group of 81 Democrats, members of Congress, sent a letter to Secretary Blinken urging him to immediately engage with the Israeli government on the potential evictions of more than 1,000 Palestinians in Masafer Yatta, which is Hebron. 1,000 Palestinians they're trying to kick out. They're just little by little trying to take more and more land until it's all theirs, according to the prophecy, because God gave it to them. And it's sad that because of Christianity, we've got 81 Democrats and no support from Republicans because they all believe that God gave them the land. Because of Christianity, this is allowed to go on. And it enables it. Here's a little news story from Wayne Chosenberg. Boeing and Israel agreed a lucrative reciprocal spending agreement. So no big deal, just the biggest plane aviation company in the world making closer relationships with Israel, who's already one of the top arms exporter in the world. Lighten to the nations by shipping bombs and advanced weapons and spy tech around the world. And I guess we're going to wrap it up with a couple of... oh, no, we got a little bit more here. See if I'm missing any super chats. Odd Sea View says, "Hi Adam, great research, interesting live stream. You are always well prepared." Thank you. I do a lot of preparation. Although today I had a lot of dead air trying to remember something. Pagan Bear says, "Pagans believe we manifest destiny. They think it comes from God when it's them. We could manifest our own destiny if we would just make the switch to our faiths. We could be on top again." Well, there could be some truth to that. The Jews believe that the Gentiles lose their supernatural protection when they stop adhering to their indigenous beliefs. So there definitely could. I mean, why do you think I'm embracing my Viking European heritage? Doesn't mean we believe in Odin and the All-Father literally, although I have been given the Black Crows been messing with me lately. I think it's Odin is speaking to me through the crows. I'm joking. Tribal Defender says, "Christian identity are even more retarded." Yes, Christian identity are the biggest idiots ever. Total wannabe Jew losers. We read that one. Zio Free says, "No more news shows." Oh, I read that one. No More Lies says, "Democracy everywhere and always is never more than the screen of the Jewish dictatorship." Louis Ferdinand Celine. Interesting. Haven't heard that one before. Sean Hammer says, "Hey Adam, great work. Check out Ralph Ellis. He makes the case for Josephus actually being Paul." What is the deal? I've seen so many people saying this Ralph Ellis guy. I highly doubt Josephus was Paul. So I'm already not interested in it. I'll check them out. Damn Bigfoot says, "Saul Paul subverted the Roman Empire with the teachings of Jesus, who was said to have lived before him, just like Lenin subverted Russian Empire with teaching of Marx, who lived before him." Interesting parallel. Damn Bigfoot. Liam T. Jarrett again says, "As we enter Aquarius astronomically and strategically perhaps, the opposite sign is Leo, the lion rising. I say the Lion of us, not of Judah." Okay. Where was it that I saw somebody saying that Aquarius was coming? I played that on a video recently, and I'm trying to remember it now. Who said that? The Kabbalah guru said it. That's right. The Kabbalah QAnon guru said the age of Aquarius is coming. Damn Bigfoot. There we go. Kick the goads. Kick against the goads was the saying I was trying to think of earlier. That is taken from the Greek play in Acts. Kick the goads. No wonder I couldn't remember it. It's what did I say? The chuds. It's something that makes no sense. Kick the goads was the thing Saul stole from the Greek. Yes, thank you, Dan Bigfoot. Kick the goads. Kick against the goads, which is such an odd thing to say, which is how it's obvious that the writer of Acts, who also, Luke Acts copied from Josephus, so it must have been in the late 90s at the earliest, and also picked up from this Greek play as well. Liam Jarrett again says the word God comes from goad, a goat prod of Capricorn ruled by Saturn in L. Interesting. God and goad, yeah. Thank you for that, Liam. All right. Hour and 15 minutes in. We're going to keep it under an hour and a half today. Awesome. Thank you so much for the support tonight. How many people are watching? 319. Not too shabby. Right Wing Watch now says right-wing Christian conspiracy theorist Derek Gilbert wonders how the Uvalde school shooter managed to be so accurate with his weapon. The only logical answer, Gilbert thinks, is that he was controlled by a demon.
How is it that a young man using a weapon for the first time, he'd only obtained these AR-15s about a week ago. Not enough time to train to become proficient in it. But we've seen this repeatedly in a number of mass shooting events. Nicholas Cruz, Cho Sung-hui. How is it possible that these young men are so accurate with their fire, using them for the first time in a real-life situation? Police who are trained for situations where they might need to use their firearm in a live fire situation, statistically, hit their target 20 to 30% of the time, even less if they're being fired at in return. Soldiers, likewise, miss their target most of the time, especially if they're taking return fire. So
when you're shooting point blank at children inside a closed classroom for like an hour or 45 minutes or whatever it was, this is a delusional thing to say.
How is it these young men were so accurate? It doesn't make any sense. Conspiracy theorists will say it's because they were trained. This was a black op. This was a false flag. No, I think the instructor in that course was correct. The children, the teachers, law enforcement in Uvalde, Texas, encountered a demon Tuesday.
How was he so good at shooting children? Because it was a demon. It was a demon. So ridiculous.
One who's done this before.
One who's done this before. Such a ridiculous... Christians just say the dumbest things. A demon. To believe in literal... like Jesus casting out the demons into the pigs. Here's one a friend sent me now. Speaking of demons, here's Tucker Carlson, the #1 news show in the country, promoting exorcism.
Has changed our view of exorcism. He explains in this clip, the first one he ever saw. He saw a human being levitate. Watch this.
And this just goes to show Fox News, Zionist-controlled opposition, Tucker Carlson, they want the goy to believe in Christianity. They want them to believe in these things. If Jesus is such a threat, why is it being promoted on Tucker Carlson, the biggest show in the country?
Is levitation sometimes a manifestation?
I witnessed that.
Adam is playing defense for demons, shaking my head. To believe demons are everywhere is what Rabbi Reuven believes. You realize that the idea of demonology comes from Jews. Modern demonology and Satan comes from Jews. I know they didn't originate it, but they believe that the guardian angel of all of the Gentiles is a demon, is Satan. They believe that, like Rabbi Reuven says, that there's demons all around the Gentiles. That's why we're impure.
You witnessed levitation?
I've witnessed that during an exorcism.
Can you describe it?
It was in Rome again. It was one of the ones that I was sitting in on. And when the demon had manifested, and it was thrashing around, and there's the eyes rolled in the back of the head, foaming at the mouth, throwing out blasphemies. But then at one moment, the demon got very calm and just kind of sat in the chair like this, and then just looked at me and grinned, this hideous grin. And then I look over, and the person is beginning to rise out of the chair, and the demon is just looking at me, grinning, like, look at what I can do, look at what I can do. And I'm looking at this kind of in disbelief. And what I found to be more amazing was the priest training me, his response. So he's holding the rite in his hand, he's reading it, and he's praying, and he looks over and he sees the levitation. He reads, he looks over, sees the levitation, he reads, he finally takes his hand and puts it on the head of the person and pushes him back down into the chair, And what I think he was saying is, I'm not impressed. What's more impressive?
How crazy. I mean, funny that there was no camera there. You didn't catch this on camera. Tucker bringing on this priest to promote the idea that exorcism is real because they want you to be Christians. This is promoting Christianity. You want to see an exorcism? Go on TikTok and watch all the exorcisms going on TikTok.
Out of my sister.
Like this. Oh, it's real. There's hundreds of videos like this all over the internet of exorcisms. I mean, people that will believe this will believe anything. It just I find this crazy that the top show in the world is promoting you're supposed to be, and I know he does alien stuff, but you're supposed to be taken serious. Funny, this exorcist guy will be promoted, but they won't have anybody on to talk about all the Jewish supremacy stuff out there. They want you to be good Christians, good goys. Like Tucker brought on that one Zionist that said, "Oh, we got to be righteous Gentiles to defend the Jews from the new Holocaust."
It's a prayer. I've witnessed a lot of things that people might think are not possible. But again,
can you give us another example?
Yes. So I did an exorcism in Alaska 3 years ago at a request of the bishop there. And we were in a Yupik Eskimo village, 300 miles west of Anchorage. And the demon, when it manifested, there was superhuman strength there. That's where 5 people took to hold the demon down. Interesting, the demon only spoke to me once. You could see the thrashing, you could see the anger, you could see the pure hatred and evil that the demons have for the exorcist. Because demons have to obey exorcists. It's by divine justice. There's a certain way.
When you believe other people can be possessed by demons, this is the type of atrocious beliefs that get people to do horrendous things, that justify horrendous acts. Like you say, oh, that person's a witch. That girl's got a demon inside her. Let's kill her. Is what they used to say. Stuff like that. Or, oh, that army, they're all antichrist. They don't worship the Jewish God, so let's have a holy war against them. They're all demons and satanic, demonic entities. Justifies all types of things. And if Christians believe this about Jews, like Christians believe Jews are the synagogue of Satan, that their father is the devil, meanwhile, Jews believe the same thing about Gentiles. That's just, it's covered up because they get to play the victim because Christians say it to them and turn into the villains. But this is where you get these horrendous beliefs.
That they have to operate, and they can't stand that they're being commanded to do something by someone they consider to be inferior to themselves. And so at one point when I held the crucifix up, and the reason the exorcist will hold up a crucifix is to say, you've been defeated before, you will be defeated again. Because
so see, what you learn of the power of the crucifix, the power of the blood, and the crucifix of Moshiach ben Joseph, the one who will be pierced, the suffering Messiah of the Jews. This is what you learn about when you watch Tucker Carlson.
When Jesus was dying on the cross, the devil believed that he had won. But the moment of his perceived victory becomes the moment of his defeat. And when I held up the crucifix, the demon just yelled out at me and said, "Your God is dead." And then began to thrash on the floor. And then that's when it took 5 other people to hold.
Your God is the demon says your God is dead. Have you ever heard this before? That the devil thought that he won when Jesus died? I've never even heard such a doctrine.
Have to obey exorcists. It's by divine justice. There's a certain way that they have to operate, and they can't stand that they're being commanded to do something by someone they consider to be inferior to themselves. And so at one point when I held the crucifix up, and the reason the exorcist will hold up a crucifix is to say, you've been defeated before, you will be defeated again, because when Jesus was dying on the cross.
So Jesus defeated Satan, except Satan's still possessing people and has control over the world. Jesus didn't finish the job the first time, so he has to come back 2,000 years later. Jesus just sitting up in heaven looking down from the clouds saying, oh, a little more chaos and suffering before I can come down and destroy Satan finally. Just waiting. It's so ridiculous. And people believe that this is real.
The devil believed that he had won, but the moment of his perceived victory becomes the moment of his defeat. And when I held up the crucifix, the demon just yelled out at me and said, your God is dead, and then began to thrash on the floor, and then that's when it took 5 other people to hold the demon down.
Your God is dead. Are you telling me that this demon is not smart enough to know that Jesus rode from the dead and conquered death and was resurrected by God? This demon doesn't know that? Is this demon so dumb that he's like, oh, your God is dead, your God died? This is such a ridiculous story. Oh, he levitated. Oh, I'm going to go on Tucker Carlson and promote all this nonsense.
So that conversation is well worth watching.
Years old,
Catholic,
she's
which
pregnant with my
obviously we're
brother.
not.
We lived in a-
You will learn something, and you will likely be convinced. Father Vince Lambert. So you can stream that whole thing tomorrow at 7 a.m. on Fox Nation.
Watch the whole thing. You'll be convinced, says Tucker Carlson. He gives it like a glowing endorsement. Tucker is like literally exorcist conspiracy theorist. But hold on. He's mocking. I don't think he's mocking him. No way. He platformed that guy. He's not mocking him. He would never mock a priest.